bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
My name is Ivana. I'm an artist and I live on an island in the Mediterranean. Welcome to the Republic of Me. This is going to be a vlog, journal, podcast about making things. The idea really started as a joke or a challenge. It was more for our kids. My husband and me, we both make 2 YouTube channels and who gets more subscribers. He didn't do anything. It seemed shallow at the beginning, but the more I thought about it, the old idea of the Republic of Me started coming back. It was the idea that I had a couple of years ago. It was the idea for a brand based on celebrating the uniquenesses of our interests rather than trying to fit in a mold of where we're supposed to belong and how we're supposed to look. Like, for example, my interests differ. I'm an artist, but I also trade financial markets. I garden and I grow food, but I don't really cook. Since at the moment in the whole situation with the world, we're all at home and the house is always full. So the kids are always shouting, the animals are always meowing, barking. There's lots of noise. I don't really know how exactly I'm going to do this and whether I'm going to be able to do everything in one sitting or I'm going to have to split it into sections, and we'll see how we go. So let's go. When I was a kid, my dad went to Peru and he brought me these 2 jumpers made out of alpaca fiber. I believe they were machine knit, but I remember them being stranded color work in natural colors. Now at that time, that seemed like something so foreign, distant, and exotic to me. And it's one of those things that stayed in my memory ever since. So in the past couple of weeks, I decided to work with alpaca fiber and not just knit something with alpaca yarn, which I have done so in the past, but actually work from the beginning with alpaca fiber, spin it, and then knit something with it. At the moment, I have 3 natural undyed shades: white, fawn, and this light brown kind of pecan color. I chose white and the brown and spun them into singles. I left them as a single ply yarn and decided to make some cushions. For the first cushion I made, I wanted just a simple and elegant look. So I chose just a simple stockinette stitch, knit in the round. I used 2.5mm needles, and I believe I used up 180 grams of single ply alpaca yarn. The cushion is 40 by 40 centimeters, and the stitch count I believe is 320 stitches in the round. I don't know how many rows I did because I just knit until I figured that I just knit basically until it was tall enough to fit the actual cushion insert. For the second one, I combined the white and the brown and decided on the stranded color work. I wanted to make something reminiscent of those 2 jumpers that my dad brought me years ago. This is a design that I have made, but I have never really tested it, so this was a perfect project to see my charts come to life. When I started spinning, I bought different breeds. I wanted to try samples of different breeds of sheep, and I got a variety, small quantities, like 100 grams each. So just so I can get a feel of, and they were mostly rustic breeds. So when I was spinning them, I decided to kind of mix it up. So some of them are spun straight up, some of them are made into row lugs, um, just blending. But there was no method to, there was no reason to them. Oh, but there was no method to the madness. I was just taking as I went and spinning them, and later on taking those balls that I have spun and knitting them as I went, just picking them out of the basket with no order. Because I find that our mind tries to make a certain kind of order, and even if we try to make an organic look, to create an organic look, it gets very difficult because we do try to, so whether it's starting a new color in the new row or so forth, but this way you are kind of not giving yourself a choice. So everything that I have spun, some of them mixed, some of them one color, they were all in one basket, and I was just taking without looking and continuing, and I made this crochet blanket. I love it. This blanket is more of a throw, really, because it's not soft enough to be right next to your skin, but I use it for my double bed in my bedroom as a throw. And I think it has this beautiful organic look. It's very simple to make. If you have the yarn, obviously spinning is a bit more tricky part, but it's a single crochet, and anybody who crochets knows that that's the most basic stitch. But I think it gives this beautiful rustic and organic look. There was one fiber that I didn't use. I didn't like it. It's Herdwick, I believe, and it didn't feel good. It looked beautiful. I love the color, but I didn't enjoy the spin. It felt like straw. So I left it. I didn't use it in the blanket. And later on, when I checked on the internet, I typed in Herdwick sheep, and I checked, and it does say that their wool is very coarse and that it's mostly used for carpets. So yeah, I don't want to be covered with a carpet. So I just left it aside, and maybe at some point, if I continue spinning it, I'm gonna make baskets or something like that. Without realizing at the time, art and painting were part of my family and threaded throughout my life. Both my parents are very creative and talented, and my mother would always draw paper dolls for me and my sister when we were young, and all the clothes that go with it. I never remember her actually painting, but I do have one work of art in my living room that I believe she did when she was about 15. My dad, on the other hand, picked up painting about 10 years ago, and it's an inspiring story, and at some point I will show you some of his works. But the story is that he used to paint when he was a kid, and then he was in a corporate industry of shipping for a long time. But then when he had a stroke, it left him with his right hand kind of immobilized. So he taught himself, he picked up painting again, and he taught himself how to draw with his left and non-dominant hand. As I said, once this quarantine and lockdown, this whole thing finishes, I'm going to get some of his drawings and I will show you it at some point. My mother's uncle, he was also a great artist, and his wife, my mom's aunt, she, I don't believe she painted, but she was a historian of art. And I remember whenever I used to go to their house, it always reminded me of a museum. It was full of old books and sculptures and artifacts and paintings. One day, a couple of years ago, I woke up and I thought, I need to paint. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any canvases, any paints. So I went to a shop, got what I needed, and I painted 2 large paintings back to back. Something happened. When I finished them, I was so exhausted emotionally, physically. It felt like something needed to come out of me. And that morning when I woke up, whatever it is, whether it's just my own mind told me, you need to paint. And so I did. Those 2 paintings are, one went to my sorry, one went to my parents' house, and the other one is in my sister's. They were completely intuitive works, those 2 paintings, and I started, when I put them on the kitchen table, because I didn't have an easel at the time, I started from a corner, not really looking where I'm going. I just started from a corner, worked all the way through the painting completely intuitively, and the first time I saw them, I saw the complete painting is when it was finished and I put it up. I haven't painted a couple of months now, but I do have those periods when I'm either obsessed and I paint every day, or I just don't at all. And this is one of those periods when I needed a break. I usually use oil at the moment, occasionally acrylic, but my preferred medium is oil. And I like to paint on wood. Now, wood limits me because of the size of the paintings that I do. So what I thought I'd show you one of my favorite oil paintings that I did. It's actually right behind me. And it's one of those that will never go for sale. This painting was done wet on wet, which means that I didn't do it in layers. Since in oil paints, considering that it dries so slowly, you would have to wait for the first layer to dry for a couple of days, couple of weeks, and then apply another layer. But in certain cases, if you want more, depends on what kind of look you want to achieve. Artists paint wet on wet, which means that they're adding more oil color while the previous layer is still wet. That blends it in a different way. But this is the painting that I did in that way. I used wood, which is probably my favorite substrate. I used plywood. What I do with plywood is I sand it, and then I prime it, then I sand it again, then I prime it again. So I do that process about 4 times. And what happens, the feeling that it gives me when I paint on wood, because the canvas gives, it's not supported as firmly. And when I place the oil paint onto the wood, it's just like painting with butter. And that feeling I got with the first time I tried it on wood, which is with another painting. I'll show that one to you next time. Since I did this painting wet on wet, and I didn't have to wait between the layers to dry, I did it in one sitting, but it took me 22 hours. I'll try to find a reference photo of these 2 boys. And when I saw it, I think I got it from Pixabay, where you can get royalty-free images. And when I saw these 2 boys, I just fell in love with them. I mean, they were in the grass, the field around, but I just wanted to take them out of the context and just paint them without any other background, just focus on them. I fell in love with the painting the moment it was done, and it went into my private collection. I never put it up for sale, and I don't think I ever will. I will show you more paintings with new episodes to come. And also at some point I'm probably going to set up so I can make like how is it called, time lapse. But it does require a bit of more of a setup, because the easel that I have is massive and it doesn't fit in my studio. It's really tall, so it's in my living room, and in order to do a time lapse, it means that I would have to have the camera set up for long periods of times and the light. So we'll see. Eventually maybe I'm going to get around to that. But I do have a lot of paintings that I would like to show to you. So what I will do, maybe with each episode, I will feature one or two and talk more about it, how I did it, the process, what materials I used, and the substrates. So I prepared this segment, which kind of is a compilation of the things that I've been making and us as a family that we've been doing in the past couple of weeks. It's called A Few Weeks in Making. Hopefully every time I upload, I'm going to have a segment like that. You will see, I didn't talk about growing a garden this time, maybe at some point, but you will see some segments of us doing that as well. My older son helping me. So I really hope that you liked it, that you like this vlog, podcast. I really don't know what to call it yet. I'm still very anxious when I'm supposed to record. I don't know how many takes, but I guess it's gonna get easier. And in a way, I'm glad that we had this challenge, because who knows? Maybe I'm gonna look back at these videos and keep them as a diary, or maybe you get inspired and you decide to make something like that. So I hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.
You say take me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me.